Hey guys, I just quickly want to explain to you why BBBEE will have an influence on every business in this country. For those of you that don't understand exactly how the concept works. So the BBBEE concept is actually very simple. You've got a large corporate. Let's take an example. Let's call it ABSA. Okay. So according to the law, ABSA will need to be BBBEE compliant if they apply for certain licenses and things. Now, I'm pretty sure that you do understand that ABSA needs to get licenses, like banking licenses and all kinds of other things. So there's a whole lot of legalities and rules and regulations that they have to deal with the government. And the BBBEE codes and the BBBEE law says that anybody that deals with the government needs to be BBBEE compliant, because the government will take that into consideration when they actually decide on what licenses these companies can get and what they're allowed to do and. So that's why ABSA needs to be BBBEE compliant. But one of the things that's changed in the new codes is that for ABSA to be BBBEE compliant, they need to purchase 60% of all their purchases needs to come from BBBEE compliant companies, or in other words needs to count towards their BBBEE score. Now how that works is there's a little there's actually a system. So for a level 1 company which has got more than 100 points, every rand you spend with them, you can claim 135% towards that 60%. For a level 6 company, every rand you spend with them, you can claim 60 cents towards that BBBEE score that you need to get. So I hope that helps you understand how it works. So ABSA needs to get, of all, if they spend 100 billion rand on purchasing in the year, they need to spend 60 billion rand of that money needs to be claimable. In order to claim that, they need to purchase from companies that's got a valid BBBEE rating, and that the monies can be claimed, various percentages dependent on the rating. So that's all fine and well. Now ABSA needs to purchase, and they go, let's use for an example, they do some printing. So they go to ABC Print, okay, where they do their printing. In order for them to be able to claim that 60%, they are going to require ABC Print to be BBBEE compliant, so that they can claim some of this purchases towards that 60%. Very simple. But now what it does is now it puts ABC Print in the situation, because they have the same rules. So for them to be BBBEE compliant, 60% of their spend needs to be with BBBEE compliant companies. So ABC Print, they buy their paper from XYZ paper suppliers. Okay? But in order for them to claim, for ABC to claim, XYZ needs to be compliant. Okay? For XYZ to be compliant, they need to spend 60% of their purchases with compliant companies. So maybe XYZ paper, let's just go on here, maybe XYZ paper, they use trucks, or they buy their tires for their trucks, they deliver the paper from CDF tires. Okay, in order for them to claim, they're going to need CDF tires to be BBBEE compliant. Okay, And for CDF tires to be BEE compliant, they need to spend money with their suppliers that are BEE compliant. So you understand how it goes. Wherever you go, because government is forcing ABSA to be BEE compliant, ABSA has to go down the way. And one of the simplest places to get your points, it's valued at like 10 or 12 of the 100 points, depending on which codes you're looking at, but it's valued at a fair portion of the points, is the purchasing. So that's one of the simplest places to get points. So that's why a lot of these companies are focusing on that. Now you have some corporates that are, for instance, based overseas, you know. Some corporates are overseas based and their training comes from overseas. So they have big difficulty in claiming for training. They have to focus on purchases. That's why purchases is such an important part of BEE compliance. If you don't focus on your purchasing, you are going to struggle to actually make the points. Look, there's a whole lot of points that's available that are simple, and we'll go through those in other lessons. But this is just so that you understand exactly why it's going to end up with you, you know. We require BEE certificates from the bed and breakfasts that my team stay at when they go out to go and do a job. Because every single cent helps, because believe you me, this 60% target isn't the easiest thing in the world to achieve. There's not a lot of companies that are compliant enough or on such a level that it's easy to achieve these targets. And there are certain companies, I mean there are companies that are Microsoft, Google, Office 365. These companies are overseas companies, they're not BEE compliant, yet I still have to pay my $20 or whatever a month to have Office 365. So there's actually a fair portion of my spend that I can't claim points on. But unfortunately, there are also parts of that spend that I've got no other choice. Let's just use an example. Maybe I've got a company that imports widget A. It's the widget that I need to use to build something. Okay, I need to purchase it. My company needs to purchase it. If there's only one company in South Africa that brings in widget A and they are not BEE compliant, I don't have much of a choice. I'm going to spend the money with them. So if you're the company that has widget A, well done for you, because then you don't need to be BEE compliant. Guys are going to be forced to deal with you. But you are going to make it more difficult for those guys to reach their targets. And one of the new things of the BEE codes that also says that if I buy a widget from company A that's not BEE compliant, and company A is the only company that supplies that widget, so I can't buy it anywhere else, then they require of me to start setting up a channel to empower a new black-owned company to also be able to start importing or supplying widget A. So in other words, they actually I must assist that company to get that widget so that I can create a competitor for the company that is not BEE compliant. So that's pretty much it. That is why we need to become BEE compliant. And you will notice that companies don't really care whether you are level 5 or level 6 or level 4. Companies just ask for a BEE certificate because they need to take everything they can get.